You have to be passionate about it. And so, can you tell us, just so the listeners will know kind of what Ward 6 encompasses, so they'll know the areas?
Well, Ward 6 starts at Raymond Road, right there at Belvedere. It comes back all the way over to Raymond, not Raymond Road, but McDowell Road Extension, as far over, I think, to the west. And then it comes all the way down Terry Road. Everything, if you're coming from the north going south, everything on the right side of Terry Road is Ward 6. Everything on the left side of Terry Road is Ward 7. And it goes all the way down right before the Byram line is where Ward 6 is.
Okay. Wow, that's a pretty big ward.
It's a pretty big ward.
What are some of the things that you want to see changed, or you want to implement in your ward?
Well, my wife and I has been cleaning up around the house, and we have a lot of space, and sometimes I feel like that we need more space, but it's amazing what can happen when you clean up a little bit, and so we need to clean up South Jackson. If you start at Highway 80 and you drive down Terry Road, it will make you cry at all the dilapidation, the closed buildings, the grass overgrown. And if we're going to build something new, we got to clean up. And that would be my first goal, is to get things cleaned up, take advantage of the new ordinances that we have made in the city planning board. I am a part of the planning board with the ordinances. Like, if people not keeping up with their property, you can call it in. They'll put it on. It's a very effective system, and I know that it's working. So my goal is to start there. As a matter of fact, I've already started turning in properties that need to be dealt with, addressed. And so my goal is to get it cleaned up, but then start attracting new businesses in the area. I'm looking forward to having more mom pop places. We don't have a lot of big industrial space out there in South Jackson, but I want to see some sit down restaurants, and I want to give other opportunities to people who are starting in businesses, and maybe work with the city or the state, whatever I have to do, to give them tax incentives for coming to South Jackson. Restaurants, sit down, all this industrial stuff that they have, all them big buildings. Now, they can keep that out north and all that. So when y'all get tired of being out there around all that, then y'all can come on down to South Jackson and you can get you some rest. You know what I'm saying? And so I thank God for living in Precinct 1. When I go to those community law meetings, the Precinct 1 commander always tell us, he said, we don't worry about South Jackson. As far as Brooklyn, because, nothing goes on out there. So I want that same comment about the whole Ward 6 area. And so my goal is to make sure that we implement some of these things to get some stuff done.
I like that idea of cleaning up, cleaning up the city. I think that's key. That's paramount.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's something that's actually attainable.
Exactly. Very attainable.
I say this week after week, listeners, I hope y'all hear this. When y'all are vetting candidates, you need to go with the candidate that wants to start with the simple things. Mm-hmm. You have candidates that come and promise you a new mall, a new stadium, a new this and that. Things are not
they probably not see it during their turn.
That's it. Won't even see it. What's going on, bro? And so make sure that your candidate wants to handle the basics, because we get a brand new shiny stadium, but if crime and the area around it is junky and dilapidated, what is it going to do? So I like that plan, starting with the bottom.
Yeah.
Now, I see that you're the Homeowners Association president for Brooklyn.
Yes, I've been the Homeowner Association president for the past 8 years. Is that a call?
That's a call. Let's see here.
Oh, wow.
Just call. Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. I was just listening to your candidate there, and I heard you talking earlier about, help, how we help, and that kind of thing. But, what can we do as a community to help us work our way out of our condition? Because help is beginning to be a burden.
Yes.
And so, as long as we helping, because I got a person that I help a lot, and it's just wearing me down.
Yes.
And they depend on me for help. But how do we work our way out of our condition over the next 20 years or so? Because I think, when you make, these mild promises like, we can clean up, that's great. But how do we clean the people up? Well, how do we change our thought process? But so we won't need help so much. And I can see the society turning in against us. Mm-hmm. And so it just looks like that we're going to be a people that's dependent on others to bail us out.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
And I don't even know if a candidate or a position can do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do it as a people.
Amen.
And so, what are we going to do? I just can't sit back and just wait and wait and wait and pray and pray and pray and march and march and march and protest and protest and protest. And over the next 40 years, we'll be doing the same old thing over and over. Mm-hmm. Why don't we teach ourselves what's good and what's better and learn and listen and stop so much foolishness and clowning and partying and dancing and carrying on. And that's great. That's good entertainment. But at the end of the day, when we look back, we just don't have anything. Mm-hmm. And I hate to sound critical. I don't mean it like that, but
you're telling the truth.
I just look at our condition. And I look at others that come to the area. And they pop up eyelash stores and nail shops and Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins and Chinese restaurants and Mexican stores and wig and supply. And, they just got here just a handful of years ago. And we do all the shopping, and they pack up, and they live successful in other surrounding counties.
Yes.
And so, as a candidate, and I know you can do all you can do, but I think we have to put a lot of emphasis on how we work ourselves out of our condition.
Amen.
Collectively. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing our people, but, we can't always help. Mm-hmm. Help is getting hard to do. Mm-hmm. It's like you calling me to your house for me to cut your light switch on, and you sitting right there on the couch.
Yeah.
That's a lot to ask for somebody over and over and over. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you look at the surrounding counties, some things they just not going to tolerate. They're not going to put up with it. They have a lot of compassion for the poor, but you just can't stand on our corners.
Yeah.
We're just not going to let you do that.
Right.
We're not going to present ourselves like that to the public.
Yes, sir.
And we have to take the same stance.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to be all right.
Thank you so much, Colin.
Yes, sir.
I like that comment that he made. Of course, to me, I live in Brooklyn, and so we've had to take our enforcement and all that into our own hands. First of all, I think that we start by cleaning up, like I mentioned it, but to try to get as many homeowners in these areas, because what I found out, and I know that firsthand, is when you got property that belongs to you, you're going to take care of it. But if you got a person there that's living temporary, they're just there for the time, and I have a little bit more problem with them than the people that are vetted into the community. One of my goals is to rebuild the community with the program, nonprofit organization I have, Greater South Jackson Improvement Association. I am getting together all the homeowner association presidents and also the neighborhood association president. And we're going to be one voice for South Jackson. So in other words, if you're in this part of town and you don't have a neighborhood association, we're going to help you establish one. We got to bring back the pride in the community, because if we had pride, then we'll take care of what we have. If I have pride in my community and I roll down the road and see somebody threw a bag out, I'm going to stop and get it. You know what I'm saying? And so we start there. But again, we have to consider our senior citizens. In my neighborhood, I do a lot for my senior citizens. And it's about like he said, anything go on, they need me to come help. We have an obligation to take care of them. But we do have a lot of able-bodied people that can do a little bit more. And the only thing they want to do is keep reaching their hand out. We got an app called Nextdoor. And it bothers me that most people now are using it as a place to beg for help. There are able-bodied young people that can do something for themselves. So we got to work to increase the morales in our neighborhood, starting one neighborhood at a time, and we need to give help to people. Number one, learn how to take care of their property. We give them a sense of pride. That way they'll care about what's going on around my house. I mean, this is my property. I don't want no gunshots and all that. So we start there, helping building it one community at a time, helping other communities. Now, I'm just not concerned about Brooklyn, but I want to help this neighborhood, that neighborhood. And because we have one voice, we can all come together and not only give the support that we need to just my neighborhood, but I can give the same support to these other neighborhoods. And that's one of my attempts to do that, and just kind of have resources for people to tap into. There's a lot of resources out there already that would do some of these things that this young man already talking about. we're going to put together some resources where people can know, well, you can call this company over here, this nonprofit. They'll turn your light on for you, whatever it takes to get some of the pressure off of him. But I do understand exactly what he's talking about.
And the caller made very good point. You know, we do a lot of neighborhood cleanups, and it's disheartening because we'll clean up and we'll come back the next day and they're dumped out there again. Mm-hmm. But like you say, what we have to do is we have to figure out a way to have people to start taking pride in their community and the neighborhoods. Because once you get that pride established, then you know people are gonna do better.
And then they're not gonna even want to see nobody dump no trash. Because I'll run them down, so you go take your trash and take it somewhere else.
And we have another caller coming in. Hey, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, let me turn my radio down. Okay. One of the, and I understand what the candidate is saying, we need to walk out the front door and clean your front yard up, your side yard up, pick up the paper, cut the grass, and pick up the paper in the street in front of your house. If everybody did that,
amen, that'd work.
The whole Jackson would be clean. But the other part is that the candidates, from the mayor on down, need to do what they say they're going to do, and also what's out there that needs to be done, such as, number one, these streets are terrible.
Oh, yes.
And
infrastructure.
We're paying an extra 1% tax, along with the road and bridges tax on the real estate tax. And the streets are horrible. And I know you all know what I'm talking about. They got potholes everywhere. We got potholes everywhere. And the streets are not right. You don't know if you're in the right lane or not. And so if the streets are paved throughout the city, businesses will want to locate in different areas where there's commercial property to be bought. There's a lot of commercial property to be bought through the Secretary of State because people are not paying the taxes. But people will want to do business when the streets are paved. And that's just one of my opinions. That's very simplistic. But people are tired of paying taxes and nothing is getting done. Thanks for letting me take my call.
Thank you so much, caller. Taxation with no representation.
Amen. Fabian, that was my number 2 thing is infrastructure.
Infrastructure, okay.
Because I'm getting tired of putting tires on my wife's car and all that kind of stuff. Every other 2-3 weeks, she got a hole in her tire. But that's the second thing we have to do. We got to make it smooth out there, you know.
That's it.
And we got to do something about our infrastructure.
I have a pile of tires, about 7 tires and rims. From every time I crack a rim, it's cheap just to buy another rim instead of trying to get it welded. So I'm tired of that. That's adding up. And,
okay, well, I have one question before we accept that call. City council involvement is very pivotal when it comes to the work that needs to be done in our city. So how would you address concerns from citizens who feel their voices are not being heard by city leadership? I think that's the biggest issue that the bulk of the calls are coming in. People feel as if their concerns are falling on deaf ears.
I think that city council, mayor, whoever should make it an effort to be able to be where the people are, to listen to them. I know I've asked the mayor, and I'm going to say this on live radio several times, to come to our HOA meetings, and he does send a representative, but we want him to hear our concerns himself. So we have to make sure that we provide opportunities for people to speak to us, whether that be a newsletter. My wife and I are already going to do a newsletter to kind of keep them abreast of what we're working on, but we have to have an outlet. You know, I'm going to have an open line. You know what I'm saying? If you need to talk to me, it ain't like me trying to call down there and talk to a city councilman now, because you may get them, you may not. I want to be available for my people. Most folks say, no, you don't want to give me a number. Yes, I do. I want to be reachable so I can hear you. Now, if you get a little long-winded or whatever, then we're going to make it work. But they need to be able to talk to you and voice their concern. And because I know how I feel. When I got concerned, it take me forever to get somebody to talk to. We have to listen to them and provide outlets, regular outlets, whether it be going to the HOA meetings or have a meeting at certain intervals where people can come and voice their concern.
Okay. Well, you've definitely shared some vital information with us. So if those who want to participate either by donations or volunteering, tell the listeners what they need to do so that they can support your campaign to those who are interested.
Well, they can go to voteemonthompson.com. My name is EMONTHOMPSON, voteemonthompson.com, and all the information they need to support me, whether they want to volunteer, whether they want to give a financial contribution, all that can be found on that website.
Okay. So you all have heard it from your first candidate. I hadn't heard of anyone else, but if you all are out there listening, the first candidate has already made his appeal for your vote for Ward 6
Hitting the ground,
City Council.
hitting the ground running, and we have one more caller to take care of. Hey, caller, you on the air?
Oh, hey, Fabian, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well, enjoying your show.
Thank you so much for always tuning in.
Yes, sir. I just want to make sure that our listeners and your listeners understand that the problem is 90% economic. That we are poor. There's so much poverty and despair in Jackson until it's hard to get beyond it. A broke man cannot have pride. He doesn't have anything to have pride in. And we have the job, we don't have living wages jobs, and we're watching all the money move out of our community and other communities every day. Every day I see these trucks running and these contractors from somewhere else doing all of the work on Jackson's infrastructure. And we keep turning our economy over to people other than where we live, and then we complain about not having good streets, not having good roads, and high crime. It's all about economics. And I'll close with this. When you ask white folk what is the number one concern they have in this country, they are always going to say the economy. It's about the economy. And I just wanted to make those comments. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
All right, so caller summed it up, the economy.
That's what it is.
Fabian, I'd like to make one more statement before I go.
Okay.
Is my motto is together we build better. And we work together, we can make things done. Of course, we have to do whatever we can to work together, build our community, but it can be done. If I did not have faith that it could be done, I wouldn't be here talking to the constituents right now about voting for me. I have faith that it can be done, and I believe that we can do it, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen.
Okay.
If it's humanly possible.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That sounds great. So everybody we just heard from the candidate for Ward 6 City Council, Mr. Emon Thompson. And he told y'all what y'all need to do. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your platform. And we want to have you back before election time. So please make sure
Thank you.
come
I'll be
back
happy
on
to
here.
come.
Yeah,